People are in custody today for a January homicide. 19-year-old Alexis Hawkins and 18-year-old Brian Winston Jr. facing multiple charges, including murder and attempted robbery.
How many messages does it take to lure someone to their death? For Alexis Hawkins, it took exactly 17 Instagram DMs, flirty emojis, late-night conversation, just enough interest to make Jarrell Pryor think he'd gotten lucky. Police would later find those messages right alongside her other conversation, where she bragged about scamming men and promised her boyfriend she was about to score big. Before we get too deep, hit the like button, share your take in the comments, and tap subscribe with the bell so you never miss the next episode of Deranged Women. One January night, a young father believes he's meeting up with a girl who's been sliding into his DMs. Instead, he walks straight into an ambush that'll leave him dying from 4 bullet wounds.
The details they gave us was basically there was somebody else in the car with him, right? And we can only assume that an argument ensued, and then they took that drastic action to take his life, and he tried to get out of the car, and that's where they found him.
This is what happened to Jarrell Pryor. And listen, as someone who's been tracking cases like these, I've pieced this together from court documents, police statements, and news reports. I wasn't in that courtroom. I didn't interview the family directly. But what I found, it'll make you think twice about who you're really talking to online. Let's talk about who Jarrell actually was, because that's what makes this whole thing so gut-wrenching. 26 years old, raising a 2-year-old daughter he called Honey. And when I say he was devoted to that little girl, he had this game where he'd hide around corners in their house, wait for her to come looking, then jump out saying, "Here I am, I'm right here," before scooping her up, every single day. His family, they paint a portrait of someone you'd probably want to hang out with. His older brother Byron laughs when he talks about how Jarrell could be annoying, but in that little brother way where you love them anyway. His grandmother Linda, she says he'd stop by her house daily after work, not because he needed anything, just to mess with her, tease her, make her laugh and worry at the same time. The man was fearless. Sports, dancing, he worked the assembly line at Carrier Corporation, and yeah, he had some swagger about him. Knew he looked good. But underneath all that confidence, he was still that dad playing hide and seek with his baby girl. This wasn't some guy mixed up in dangerous stuff. This was someone's goofy son, someone's annoying little brother, someone's devoted father, someone who thought he was just going on a date. Now here's where things take a turn, because while Jarrell's posting photos of Honey on Facebook and working his shifts, there's this 19-year-old named Alexis Hawkins scrolling through Instagram looking for her next target. For Jarrell, this probably felt like any other online connection. Young, single dad, working hard, maybe not having much time for traditional dating. Here's this girl showing interest, keeping the conversation going. Why wouldn't he be interested? But here's what's happening behind the screen. While Alexis is sending Jarrell those flirty messages, she's having a completely different conversation with someone else, her boyfriend, 18-year-old Brian Winston Jr. And what's she telling Brian? According to the arrest affidavit, and I'm quoting the actual evidence here, she's bragging about how she's scammed men before. She's not calling this a date. Every sweet message, every laughing emoji, every can't wait to see you. It's all part of a script, a performance. The messages between Jarrell and Alexis, they're exactly what you'd expect. He's asking, "When you free?" She's playing along, setting up the meeting. Normal stuff. But flip to her other conversation, the one with Brian, and it's like watching someone plan a hunting trip. And Jarrell? He has no idea he's the prey. Police would later recover these Instagram messages, and the contrast is sickening. In one thread, she's this interested girl setting up a fun night out. In the other, She's a predator coordinating an ambush. She's literally giving her boyfriend, the one Gerald doesn't even know exists, updates on where they'll be and when. The night of January 24th starts like any other for Jarrell. He clocks in at work, does his shift on the assembly line. Around 8, during his dinner break, he swings by his grandmother's house. This is routine for him. Remember? Daily visits to mess with Grandma, check on Honey, who's staying there for the night. He gives his daughter a kiss, tells her he'll see her tomorrow, then heads back out. By 10 that night, he's texting his mom, Tamekia. Working overtime, he says, be home late. But was he really working overtime? Jarrell finally meets up with Alexis in person. You know that nervous energy when you're meeting someone from online for the first time? Checking your breath? Maybe fixing your hair in the rearview mirror? That was probably Jarrell in those moments. He picks her up in his car. She didn't have her own ride, which becomes important later. Surveillance cameras catch them together around 12:15 a.m. outside a liquor store. Alexis is playing her part perfectly. She's got to keep him relaxed, keep him trusting, keep him right where Brian can find them. 1:15 a.m. The trap snaps shut. Brian Winston Jr. appears out of the darkness. Jarrell's sitting in his car with Alexis when the shooting starts. 4 shots. 4. There's no warning, no demand for money, no chance for Jarrell to understand what's happening. This isn't even a robbery gone wrong. It's an execution. And Alexis? Not a scratch on her. Funny how the bullets found their target so precisely while missing the girl sitting right there. Almost like the shooter knew exactly who to hit and who to spare. Neighbors hear the gunshots and call 911. When police arrive, they find Jarrell on the ground beside his car, blood everywhere, barely hanging on. Alexis is there too, playing the traumatized date who just witnessed something horrible. First responders work on Jarrell, get him in the ambulance, race to the hospital. He's still alive, still fighting, but those 4 bullets? They did what they were meant to do. He dies at the hospital, 26 years old, gone. Back home, Jarrell's family doesn't know any of this yet. His mom, Tamekia, starts calling after midnight, straight to voicemail. She texts, no response. This isn't like him. Something's wrong, she can feel it. The call comes at 5:02 a.m. Jarrell's stepfather, Travis, picks up the phone, and it's the coroner's office. We regretfully have to tell you that Jarrell just lost his life. Travis thinks it's a sick prank at first. Who wouldn't? He Googles the number. It's real. Marion County Coroner. Real. Now the police have a murder to solve, and they've got their star witness right there, Alexis Hawkins, the girl who was with Jarrell when he died. She's giving them the scared victim routine, but detectives, they're not buying what she's selling. Something's off. They grab Jarrell's phone from the scene and start digging. The Instagram messages between him and Alexis are there, all those flirty exchanges setting up the date. Normal stuff. But then they get a warrant for Alexis's account, and that's when the real story explodes. 2 conversations running parallel. One with Jarrell, playing the interested girl, one with Brian, planning the hit. She's coordinating with Brian about when and where they'll be. The evidence is right there in black and white. This wasn't random. This was planned. Then investigators find something else. On the very day of the shooting, Alexis is Googling "News Today Near Me" and "Shootings Keystone." She's checking if her crime made headlines yet. Hours after Jarrell's blood is still fresh on the pavement, she's seeing if she's famous, and those messages asking people for rides right after the shooting. She's trying to flee the scene, get away from the body, distance herself from what just happened. February 26th, 1 month and a day after Jarrell's murder, they arrest Alexis Hawkins. Murder, attempted robbery, the whole package. But there's still one problem. The shooter's in the wind. Brian Winston Jr. has vanished. For weeks, police chase leads while Jarrell's family waits for justice. Then they get a break. Brian's fled over 1,000 miles to Austin, Texas. Maybe he thought distance would save him. Maybe he thought they'd give up. April 2nd, Texas police grab him. April 15th, he's back in Indiana, sitting in Marion County Jail, just like his girlfriend. The couple that kills together gets arrested together, even if it takes a few extra months. The charges tell you everything about how cold this crime was. Alexis Hawkins faces murder, conspiracy to commit robbery, and attempted robbery. Brian Winston Jr. gets hit even harder. 2 murder counts, plus the conspiracy and robbery charges. Let the jury pick which one fits. Both denied bond, both sitting in Marion County Jail. Initial hearings in March and April were quick. Charges read, lawyers assigned, not guilty pleas all around. The May 19th court date came and went with the usual legal maneuvering. As of now, they're waiting for trial, which could be months or even a year away. Neither has confessed. Neither has taken a deal. The evidence? Those Instagram messages showing the whole setup. The Google searches about shootings. The surveillance footage. Alexis asking for rides to flee. Her weird no fingerprints on weapons defense. It's the kind of digital trail that makes prosecutors smile and defense attorneys sweat. Tameka Wiley said it best. No justice will ever cure my broken heart. It will not bring my baby back. She's raising Honey now, answering questions no grandmother should have to answer. Why isn't Daddy coming home? Where did he go? The family threw Honey a birthday party 6 weeks after her father died. She turned 3, surrounded by people who love her, but missing the one person who used to play hide and seek with her every day. She still does it sometimes. Walks around calling, "Daddy, where are you?" waiting for him to jump out and say, "Here I am." But he never does. Travis Wiley, Jarrell's stepfather, fights against anyone who tries to write this off as just another statistic. His stepson wasn't running the streets, wasn't in a gang. He was coming off a work shift, thinking about a date with a girl who seemed interested in him, a girl who was actually setting him up to die for whatever was in his wallet. Here's what haunts me about this case. Jarrell did everything we tell people to do. He worked hard. He took care of his daughter. He stayed out of trouble. He was just trying to meet someone, maybe find some happiness. And that normal human desire? That's what Alexis Hawkins weaponized against him. 17 Instagram messages, that's all it took. So next time you match with someone online, next time those late-night messages start flowing, remember Jarrell Pryor. Remember that behind that profile picture, behind those flirty words, there might be another conversation happening. One where you're not a person, you're a play, you're a target, you're prey. The technology changes, but the predators don't. They just find new hunting grounds. Thank you for listening to this story. If it makes even one person more careful about who they trust online, then maybe some good can come from this tragedy. Keep Jarrell's family in your thoughts, especially little Honey, who's growing up with just memories of her daddy's hide-and-seek games. I'll see you in the next episode of Deranged Women. Stay safe out there. Remember, danger can wear a friendly face. Stay aware, look out for others, and reach out if you need help. See you in the next case on Deranged Women. Thanks for watching.